You studied hard. You got the grades. You did everything right. So why is the guy who barely passed school making more money than you? And before you brush that off, sit with that question, because the answer will change how you see everything. School was designed to create employees, not millionaires. And the better you were at school, the deeper that programming goes. You spend years being trained to follow instructions, meet deadlines, and fear failure. All perfect qualities for working for someone else. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. You just weren't told what it was designed for. And it gets worse before it gets better. Think about the kid who sat at the back of the class. The one selling snacks, charging people to copy homework, always somehow having money. Teachers called him a distraction. The market called him an entrepreneur. Nobody taught him to wait for permission. Nobody taught him to ask for a grade before making a move. He just moved. And that one difference is worth more than any diploma on your wall. Good students learn to get the right answer. Rich people learn to ask the right question. In real life, nobody gives you a multiple choice. Life just says, here's a problem, no instructions, no time limit. Figure it out. The well-trained student freezes. The back of the class kid is already 3 moves in. Nobody wants to admit this next part. Your tolerance for uncertainty is your single biggest financial superpower. Wealthy people are not smarter than you. They are just more comfortable with not knowing. They move before they have all the answers. And yes, they fail. But they fail fast, adjust, and go again without making it mean something about their worth. The straight-A student fails once and shuts the whole thing down. Because failure was never part of the plan. When you've been graded your entire life, failure feels like identity. But in business, failure is just data. It's feedback. It's just Tuesday. School actively hid this next part from you. And it costs people decades. You sat through 12, 16, sometimes 20 years of education. And nobody once explained compound interest in a way that actually mattered. Nobody said, if you invest this amount at this age, here's what your life looks like at 45. Nobody explained assets versus liabilities in plain language. Nobody said, your salary is a starting point, not a destination. Instead they said, study hard, get a stable job, save money. Which sounds responsible. And it is responsible. It's just not rich. Saving money in a basic account while inflation quietly eats it from the inside, that's not a financial plan. That's a slow leak with a very comfortable name. And safety is costing you more than you think. Good students were taught to value security. Security is warm. Security is familiar. But security is also the reason brilliant people are sitting in offices they quietly resent, doing work that stopped exciting them years ago, waiting for a pension that may or may not exist when they finally get there. Wealthy people value ownership. They want equity. They want a piece of something that grows while they sleep. The good student wants a guaranteed paycheck. The wealthy person wants upside. Those two mindsets, compounded over 20 years, will take you to 2 completely different lives. Same starting point, totally different destinations. Nobody talks about this next one honestly. School rewards individual performance. You studied alone. You were tested alone. Sharing answers was called cheating. But in the real world, sharing answers is called collaboration. And it's how every major deal gets done. The most successful people in any room got there because of who they knew, who trusted them, and who quietly opened a door for them. Not because of their GPA. Relationships are currency. And while the good student was perfecting their resume, the scrappy kid was already in the room, having the coffee, sending the message, showing up even when it felt awkward and pointless. Your network is your net worth. That's not a motivational poster. That's just accounting. Here's where it turns around. This is not about throwing away everything school gave you. School gave you discipline. And discipline is genuinely gold. But now you need to layer financial literacy on top of that discipline. Risk tolerance on top of that work ethic. Creativity on top of that focus. School was chapter 1. A real, necessary chapter. But somewhere along the way, you started treating it like the whole book. And the rest of the chapters, nobody assigned them. Nobody graded them. Some of the most successful people built entire empires as average students, not because they were smarter, but because they weren't protecting a perfect record. They were too busy building something real. And some of the most underpaid people alive are the smartest people in the room. They know everything. They've read everything. They have 17 tabs open and 4 notebooks filled, but they're still waiting until they know just a little bit more before they start. And that moment never comes. Because knowledge without action is just very expensive entertainment. Here is what you actually do with all of this. Take the discipline school gave you and point it at yourself. Not at a grade. Not at someone else's timeline. At your own vision. Learn how money moves. Learn how to create real value. Learn how to sit in discomfort and take the step anyway. Start before you feel ready. Because ready is just a feeling. And wealth is a decision. One you make and remake every single day. Nobody is coming to assign you the next lesson. You are the teacher now. Your life is not a test with a right answer. It never was. It's a canvas. And nobody is grading how you paint it. But 10 years from now, you will look back at this exact moment, and you will ask yourself one question. Did I play it safe, or did I actually try? The grade you give yourself that day is the only one that ever really mattered. Make it something you're proud of.